Our local retarded Ozempic walrus has been indicted on 18 counts by a federal grand jury. Oh, boy.
We have breaking news right here on CNN from our Caitlin Polans, who has been reporting on the possible indictment of John Bolton, the former national security advisor for President Trump in his first term. Caitlin, what do we know?
Casey, John Bolton, the former national security advisor to Donald Trump, a longtime federal government official, has been indicted by a grand jury. We are learning that through two different sources from our producer, Hannah Rabinowitz at the Justice Department. And we have confirmed that the grand jury was in today with the lead prosecutor on that case, the same prosecutor who had been on some of the documents of the search of Bolton's house just 2 months ago, or not even 2 months ago.
What a surprise.
A prosecutor who also has some experience in investigating these sorts of things. He was a prosecutor that was also working on the Biden classified documents handling investigation that led to no charges. But in this situation, the bulk of this...
Well, they got him this time.
Case. It's been going on for several years, and our understanding is that it's about John Bolton's use of an email account with AOL, an email account where he was writing...
Oh, you know, of course, he's old. He's got an AOL account.
Diary-like notes and summaries of his time as national security advisor to himself, at times even sending them to his wife and daughter. And that is the sort of thing that the Justice Department does say frequently, not just in the climate of a Trump administration, that that's something that you should not do. We have seen many charges like this before of other high-ranking officials. And that also with John Bolton in those search warrants, and what we're very likely to see in court going forward is that the Justice Department saying he should have known better. Casey?
Shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it, bro.
Caitlin, can you take us through here the timeline of investigations into John Bolton and just what we know and don't know about the administrations under which they were started? Because there was a probe into his book that started under the first Trump administration that the Biden administration later dropped. Can you just walk us through what we know, what we don't know about whether these two things are related?
Yeah, Casey, I think as far as thinking about this, in which administration did it start, it's not about that. It's more about when there was information coming into investigation.
If Kamala Harris was president, this guy wouldn't be getting indicted. It's pretty fucking obvious. Everybody knows this. It's just the way it is. Shouldn't have fucked around.
Investigators that led them to want to investigate the possible criminality here that would lead to an indictment today. I'm still waiting to see exactly what the indictment says about what type of documents they would be that would be mishandled, what is in there about timing of an investigation, or even timing of when these original acts would have taken place and the federal government learned about them. But Casey, the arc of this investigation, there were two things that happened. Both of those things became part of the search warrant. One, John Bolton was writing his book, and when he was working on the manuscript, was in touch with federal officials to clear everything, to take things out of that book that might be classified. He worked...
What a fucking idiot. Why would you even do this? It's such a massive own goal. You don't even need... Why would you do this? There's no reason for you to have done this.
With them for some time, and then got into a tiff, essentially, with the Justice Department.
And I thought he was so untouchable, he wrote a book.
They didn't want him to publish it. He wanted to publish it. It did go to publish. And that was something Donald Trump wanted him investigated about. That's one aspect. But this AOL account, that's another thing that has had a long history of being investigated, both by people in the Biden administration, career prosecutors, as well as career prosecutors still in the District of Maryland in this administration. And the arc of that investigation, it came to the Justice Department because John Bolton, his email was hacked by a foreign government, and during the intelligence collection
that's why you don't use an AOL email to talk about like the fucking national security. That's why you don't do it.
This is the whole reason. From our sources, it became clear
you can see why.
To the American federal government that there might be stuff in his email account that probably shouldn't have been kept in an unsecured way.
Yep.
Well, and the hack by a foreign government of his commercial email account would sort of underscore the point that you're making there. Okay, so our Kristen
America
Holmes,
Online.
Senior White House
Many
correspondent,
years ago.
just asked President Trump, or was in an event with President Trump where he was asked about this indictment. Let's watch that.
Know that you told me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy.
It's
too bad, but
too bad.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right?
That's the way it goes.
What?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person.
That is the voice of our Kristen Holmes there. Caitlin, he sort of handled that a little bit differently than he sometimes talks about some of these other cases, but of course underscores his personal...
Well, he doesn't like him because this guy roached out on him. This guy fucking tried to... this guy is talking shit about him after he was on your side. Yeah, of course this is what was going to happen to you. How did you think this was going to happen?
Feelings about
Shouldn't have
his
fucked
former
around.
national security advisor.
Yeah, Trump has for some time said that he wanted to see Bolton face consequences, especially for that book. It was very damaging for Trump at the time. He even went to court to try and stop Bolton from publishing and was not able to do so. But in recent months, Trump has been pretty reticent about speaking about Bolton. He said publicly he wanted others to be charged. Adam Schiff.
Yeah, this should be a good start. This is a good start. Start doing it to more people.
Not been charged with any crime. James Comey, who has, Letitia James, who also has. Bolton has not really been at the forefront of the people on Trump's list lately. One thing I do want to add, though,
Y'all see this as a dot in a bigger pattern of Trump's side getting away with crime and people being against them being literally searched and seized? Well, they tried to do it to Trump. I mean, they gave him a mug shot. They charged him for 34 of the same thing. That was a felony. Nah. See, you can't go at somebody and do that to someone and then expect to not have this happen. You should have expected this to happen. You should have never done that. If you didn't want this to happen, you shouldn't have started it. You shouldn't have started doing it. That's it. Yeah, take a shot at the king. You better not miss. Well, they did miss, literally. So, yeah, then lose the presidency. Exactly. And it wasn't justified against Trump. Let's say it was. It doesn't matter whether it's justified or not, does it? What matters is this guy going to have his entire life fucked up because he did this or not? That's really what matters. Who cares whether it's fair or not? It doesn't matter whether it's fair. We can't know whether it's fair. I bet probably tons of them have done shit that's illegal. But really, it's about who has the control of the ability to make a decision and whether they're going to do it or not. That's it.
Now, hearing from both Hannah, covering the Justice Department, Hannah Rabinowitz,
and
our own Evan Perez, that Bolton is expected to self-surrender as soon as tomorrow in federal court in Greenbelt, Maryland. So it's not going to be a long time until we start seeing more of the meat of what this case may be, and the court proceedings get off to a start very quickly. Casey?
Very interesting.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah. We're going to have more information coming in, both from you and, of course, our great Justice Department team.
I don't understand. Are you saying justice belongs to the people in power and there's no element of fairness? Yeah, of course. What are you, retarded? Of course. Oh, if I was Trump, as soon as I got into office, it would have been 1,000 times worse. Oh, I would have totally gone Old Testament on these people. I would have the whole houses raided. I would have gone through all their stuff. I would have done everything. Yeah, charged them with as many possible things as I could. And whatever the worst thing possible is, that's what I would do. Because they tried to do it to me. Well, no, and the thing is that how is it that when somebody does something to you, it's okay, but whenever you do it to them, it's not fair? Well, I'll tell you how. It's because that's what they're saying.
Our panels here, we also still have Elliot Williams, legal analyst, and Bill Brennan with us as well. And Elliot Williams, let me start with you here. We've been...
Eye for an eye, the world goes blind, then you better not take my eye. That's the entire... See... Is it better for, like, it is always better to have a mutual destruction perspective than to just let people push you around. And if you don't have that outlook, other people that do have that outlook will dominate you. That's what will happen every single time. That's psycho mentality? Well, who the fuck do you think runs the countries? Who do you think runs Syria? This guy that used to be the ISIS leader, and now he's running Syria. He's a psycho. Trump's probably also a psycho. Putin's a psycho. If you want to get in there, and by the way, if you're not like that, the people that are going to kill you. People are so naive. Yeah, that's the way it is. Like, what do you think about Genghis Khan? So basically rule the jungle? Always has been. Absolutely. Yes.
You were in our text chain earlier talking about John
What did you think it was?
Account. This, of course, seems to be the central piece of the indictment here. And as Caitlin just walked through, this apparently came to light amid a hack of from a foreign adversary, an intelligence investigation into that. What would you underscore here as, of course, we consider this in the context that we're all living in here of the second Trump administration?
Yeah, certainly. And, Scott made the point a little bit earlier. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
It's amazing how naive your chatters can be. I think that a lot of people don't like the inherent unfairness of life, whether it's income inequality, the way that some people are just naturally more attractive than others. There are so many spectrums. I think that if you really go back and you look at a lot of any sort of military, success or any sort of military leader in like the last 2,000 years, you will see probably inside of that culture the pinnacle of absolute psychopathy with an extremely high level of intelligence. I think that if you go back that far, you will be the same thing every single time. Whether it's Napoleon, Saladin, Winston Churchill, whether it's, Stalin, all of the Julius Caesar, it is the same thing every single time. And there's a reason for that.
That's how it works. Someone's charged with a crime. I will say, and Barrett Berger, again, who I went to law school with, and we were chatting about this earlier in the text thread, we were talking about this very point. I cannot say, Casey, how many warnings you get as a young Justice Department attorney about the handling of classified information. And that includes don't email things to yourself. Don't take your notes out of the room. Do not write on classified or sensitive documents, because every time you alter or manipulate a document, you could be exposing yourself to trouble. Do not show things to other people. Do not share things with other people. You can
whenever I worked at the government, you weren't supposed to take photos of anything there. Like, it's crazy that, my job that I was 23, you're supposed to know this. Everybody knows this. You're supposed to, this obvious.
Look at certain things in certain rooms, and more than anybody else, again, John Bolton, innocent until proven guilty, but if there's any human being who ought to know better about sharing information, it's
shouldn't
him.
Have done it.
Again, it remains to be seen how much information the administration has about him.
Worked at the IRS.
And more to the point, and we said this in the text exchange too, even if he is guilty, the extent to which Trump, the president, has been speaking about John Bolton's guilt could jeopardize, the integrity of the investigation.
Absolutely.
The more you talk about the president,
that's why he's not talking about it.
Locked up and
that's the exact reason.
To be locked up, the more he sort of casts a little bit of a cloud over the seriousness of the prosecution. But again, we get so many warnings about the use of classified information that every time someone screws it up, you just sort of have to scratch your head about the stupidity that goes into mishandling information like this.
Right. Well, and
stupid.
Bill Brennan.
I don't think it's stupidity. I think it's hubris. I think it's overconfidence, thinking that you're never going to get in trouble. That's really the truth. That's the reason why he did it. He thought that nothing would ever happen to him. Complacency. Like, how many of you guys know guys that do things that they're not supposed to do, like legally, and they finally get caught and get in trouble whenever they get complacent? They stop buying burner phones every month. They start using, their home phone for people that they make, like routine. Like, like this is very, very common. They start having meetings at places that are identifiable. They start meeting with other people. They stop doing it through a liaison. Like, there's a lot of examples, right? And yeah, my deal, exactly. And this is what happens. And I've known people like this, and everybody that I know that's had that happen has had to have a timeout. Usually for maybe a few months, a couple of them for a couple of years. But you've got to think about the fact that you weren't paying attention. You thought you couldn't get got, and you did.
That point, this is someone, and we know from the search warrant that came down for his home, that his comments that he had made in public about others who were accused of mishandling classified information or using, a commercial app to communicate, in the case of the Signal Gate issue, that John Bolton was well aware of what Elliot Williams underscored here, how you should handle this information.
Elliot makes an excellent point, Casey. The training is just so people are inundated with these warnings. Don't share.
You learn this on the first day. You learn, like, this is the first day, the second day, on a regular basis. There's, like, anybody that's worked at the government knows this. Like, this. Like, everybody knows this. He's doing it because he doesn't think that he's going to get in trouble. That's the reason why. He thought he was untouchable. It seems like he's not.
Don't email. And if he came out of maybe HHS or EPA, he could possibly raise some defense that I didn't know. But he was the National Security Department. I mean,
even CNN can't run defense for this guy. I mean, like, he's cooked, man.
Well, which doesn't work anyway half the time, is going to be no excuse in this case. And I'm going to steal a word from Elliot. It's either his stupidity, and he is not a stupid man, so it's probably his arrogance that led to this. If in
That's
fact
what
he
I
did
said.
It.
Hey.
I can't say enough. The fact that he's indicted does not mean anything. He's presumed innocent. But it doesn't look good. This is a 5-year investigation, and warrants were authorized by federal judges for his residence and his office, and the prosecutors handling this are the U.S. attorney's a President Biden appointee with a long history in the Department of Justice.
What is that,
and
a manna
ring? The line
ring?
prosecutor is from the National Security Division, who worked on other cases of a similar nature. And, the type of allegation here, Casey's troubling because there's that iconic photograph of allegedly classified documents behind President Biden's 1967 Corvette in a garage. For someone to get to them, you'd have to break into
not looking good, huh?
President Biden's garage, move his old Corvette if it starts, and maybe get these documents.
Yeah.
In this case, it's on AOL, which anybody can hack, and apparently a foreign government did, and it puts this nation at risk.
Yeah.
If in fact he did this, and how is he going to look at a jury and say, I didn't know? This is the guy who's telling people not to do this, who made remarks about Secretary Clinton. If I did what they say she did, I'd be in an orange jumpsuit. He may get his wish.
Yep. That's the end of the video? Oh my God. Okay, well, that certainly says a lot, right?